Here it is, the Redmi K30 Pro, and I have the Zoom edition here with me today, guys. I'll get to the spec sheet a little bit later, but so far I'm really impressed with the writing on the box. It looks awesome. Redmi is a sister company of Xiaomi. Actually, more so, Xiaomi is a parent company of Redmi, and we have the prices at the top right-hand corner, currently exchanged from the exchange rates in Chinese RMB, since the phone is only officially launched in China and will hopefully get a global launch soon. I'm really happy that they have included a hard shell black case, as they did with the K20 Pro, and not that cheap silicon case that they did with the regular K30. They made it really hard to get the phone out the box, but once I got my grips of it, I got to the Type-C to Type-A port. I really like that they've added orange here. It looks pretty cool. We have a 33 watt charging block in the box, and it is capped at 33 watts. The phone with that 4700 milliamp hour battery, it should take just over an hour to fully charge. I have the glossy sky blue version of the Zoom edition here. It is one of the only glossy versions of the Zoom edition. Most of them are matte, and I was falsely believed to believe that this was a matte version, but unfortunately I've got the glossy one. Nevertheless, it still looks striking. The colors really do pop, not quite so as much as the K20 Pro before it, but slap on that back case and you have a matte finish thanks to that black matte hard shell case. I really do dig it. It just made the silicone one just made the previous K30 look really cheap. This Oreo shaped camera bump looks pretty cool. I'm not sure if they actually needed it. It doesn't look quite as premium as other phones, but I do like the curves on the edges of the Redmi K30 Pro. I like the red touch on the power button over there, as well as the volume rockers, but that does not have a red touch, and it is not split either. We have a 3.5mm headphone jack at the top and a pop-up selfie cam, the downward firing speaker over there, and USB 2.0 speeds. Unfortunately, not USB 3.1 speeds such as most expensive flagships come with. We do not have room for a micro SD card slot, as we have previously seen in the regular Redmi K30. That's unfortunate. So far, 120Hz display on the Redmi K30 as opposed to the 60Hz on the Redmi K30 Pro, and the design is not my favorite, but it still looks pretty good. I still think that the Realme X50 Pro looks stunning, very similar to the Mi 10 Pro. That Oreo camera on the back, like I said, you know, it's much of a muchness. It comes down to personal opinion. At least we still kept the headphone jack over there, and we don't have that ugly pill-shaped notch in the screen. We have a pop-up over here. Compared to the Realme X50 Pro though, we still have a color accented lock button over there on the X50 Pro, and we have split volume rockers on the left hand side, which I do prefer. Unfortunately, we do not have a 3.5mm headphone jack on the X50 Pro. Guys, I am sorry that I'm comparing it so heavily to the X50 Pro, but these guys are pretty much going head to head against each other. I really do love the 6.67 inch AMOLED display with no notches and no punch holes on the front of the K30 Pro Zoom edition over here. It looks visually stunning from all angles, but unfortunately we do not have that 90Hz or 120Hz panel as seen on the Redmi K30 or Realme X50 Pro. And you can see it, there is a difference. It feels quite laggy, and once you go to 90Hz, it's really hard to go back to 60Hz. I'm not sure why Redmi did do this, but they did state that they want to give their consumers better battery life. I just wish that they gave us the option. As you can see, the X50 Pro had a 90Hz refresh rate panel there, and that is its biggest competition. So if it's a must for you, then I suggest skipping the Redmi K30 Pro or even the Zoom edition like I have here. At least we have an always on display, and I really like the fact that when you do put on dark mode, when you do use their dynamic wallpaper, it makes it go dark, which looks absolutely fabulous. I just thought I'd throw that into the test. We have moved from the physical fingerprint sensor to under the screen over here, just like the K20 Pro, which is great, though it is quite slow compared to the competition such as the X50 Pro that you see here besides it. We also have face unlock, which is cool. This was missing from the K20 Pro in the beginning and got it after an update, and I do kind of prefer that the fingerprint sensor is raised as opposed to the X50 Pro. And I really do dig that there are LEDs around the camera lens over there, which was seen on the Redmi K20 Pro. When you do decide to drop your phone though, the camera does retract, which is great. And talking about that camera, we have a 20 megapixel pop-up selfie camera over here, but selfie video is capped at 1080p 30 frames per second, unfortunately. The 20 megapixel snapper looks absolutely great, especially when you shoot over to portrait mode. I can't see much edge detection. It's actually doing a terrific job, I must say.
Yo, what's up guys, this is TechNick recording a 1080p 30 frames per second selfie video on the Redmi K30 Pro Zoom edition. What a mouthful to say. Let me know what you guys think of the audio and video quality of the Redmi K30 Pro Zoom edition's selfie cam.
On the back of the Redmi K30 Pro, we have a 64 megapixel IMX686 sensor made by Sony, an 8 megapixel telephoto sensor, 13 megapixel ultra wide with a range field of view of 123 degrees, and a 2 megapixel depth lens. On the non-zoom edition, we do not have the telephoto telephoto lens, we rather have a macro lens, and we only have optical image stabilization on the Zoom Edition. Here is the 64 megapixel main sensor over here, and we're going to go ahead and crop the crap out of it, and look at that, it is not doing a great job as opposed to previous phones I have currently reviewed on the camera department. Back to that 64 main camera, we're going to use 4:1 pixel binning to go to 16 megapixels over here. I think it looks slightly better with a binned pixel over here. Remember, 64 megapixels is pretty much 8K, like an 8K TV. You're never really going to be able to see it. Telephoto, we have 3 times optical, 5 times hybrid, which still looks pretty clear. And then as soon as we go to 10 times hybrid, things start to get a little bit grainy, and we have a max zoom of 30 times. Previously, we've had 20 times, so 30 times is great, but it is seriously grainy, and you cannot see much. This is the max that we have, and I'm not really sure you should get the K30 Pro Zoom Edition just for that. We do have 8K recording at 30 frames per second, though bear in mind this is upscaled from 6K. We have 4K at 60 frames per second thanks to that Snapdragon 865 processing chip, and it looks absolutely smooth and stunning. We also have 1080p at 60 frames per second over here, and we have ultra wide, but besides from the fact that the Xiaomi Mi 10 Pro has ultra wide 4K 60, this only has 4K 30. It is capped at 4K 30 when recording at 4K. 1080p 60 though for ultra wide, that's a good thing to see. Not even the Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra can record ultra wide at 60 frames per second. Steady video is off over here, me running on the bridge, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it on to see if things get a little bit better. Definitely gets a lot better. I would even say slightly better than the Mi 10 Pro that I've been reviewing recently in the camera department. All of them have their recent updates, and I've just updated the K30 Pro Zoom Edition to do this AnTuTu benchmark run. We have a 60 Hz panel in the middle over here, and the Mi 10 Pro and the X50 Pro both have 120 Hz, both have 90 Hz panels. The X50 Pro has high performance mode, which I've turned on, and feel free to hit pause over there to check out the hardware configurations of all the devices. We're going to check out the battery at the start here in temperatures and in percent, and the CPU degrees in Celsius over here as well, and compare it at the end of the test. I'm not going to keep you guys here all day, so I have popped a little percentage timer at the bottom over there. 100% real time. What you're seeing is what I saw when doing the test. Now we've gone to 2400 back to 100% real time so that you guys can see any jitteriness in any of the phones, but you shouldn't really see that since they're all running the same Snapdragon 865 processing chip run on 7nm plus technology. It's doing a fantastic job, and we're soon going to be heading over to my favorite part of AnTuTu version 8.3 over here, and that is the terracotta soldiers. It looks absolutely stunning. It is the most graphically demanding part of the test, and you can see some jitteriness on all 3 devices over here, though they're still doing a fantastic job, though the K30 Pro is slightly behind when it comes to finishing the test before the others over here. When you do look at the refresh rate panels, you can see that the X50 Pro and the Mi 10 Pro are very similar over there, and the K30 Pro Zoom Edition is slightly slower because of its 60 Hz refresh rate. Though remember, we still have 180 Hz touch response, which is great. We have the hottest phone over there being the X50 Pro, but the phone that gained the most in the battery department was the Mi 10 Pro, adding 8.2 degrees Celsius, and the X50 Pro drained the most, but it has the smallest battery of the 3. We also have the hottest CPU temperature over here, the K30 Pro Zoom Edition, and in first place we have the X50 Pro with 591,000 points, 589,000 points in second place with the Mi 10 Pro, and in third place 587,000 points for the K30 Pro. They're all really similar, though we have the highest GPU and user experience on the X50 Pro and the highest CPU and memory on the K30 Pro. Very strange, the Mi 10 Pro didn't get anything the highest, but got the second highest of every single CPU, GPU, memory, and user experience result. The Redmi K30 Pro Zoom Edition is a breath of fresh air. I really do love it, and I think that its major biggest drawback is the lack of a high refresh rate panel. We're stuck to 60 Hz over here, but otherwise the phone does a fantastic job when it comes to brightness, the bezel-less design of the screen, and the back looks absolutely stunning, though arguably that Oreo camera didn't have to be there. Nevertheless, it still looks great, and I really do love this sky blue edition, but there are many Snapdragon phones out there. At least we have Android 10 out the box. Hopefully we get an update, and it is a really high performing phone. That's good to see, and it has a load of specs over here, including graphics, CPU, memory, and RAM. It's doing a fantastic job, but honestly, there are many Snapdragon 865 phones out there that I think personally are better than the K30 Pro. I wouldn't have said this about the K20 Pro last year, but unfortunately that is what I am saying this year. If you do slide it into price over here, the Redmi K30 Pro Zoom Edition is second cheapest being the X50 Pro when compared to the Zoom Edition, but if you scrap the Zoom Edition, it is definitely the cheapest Snapdragon 865 processing chip around. Nevertheless, it is a fantastic phone, and if you do pick it up, you won't be disappointed. Guys, this is TechNick, and I'll see you in the next one.